The Andrews heir is a madman, but he's madly in love with me alone. He crippled the men who kidnapped me. Yet he would tenderly kiss the birthmark on my left cheek, calling it an angel's seal. But when his old flame accidentally set me on fire, leaving my face disfigured, Derek merely said dismissively, "Don't blame her. You weren't pretty to begin with anyway." I couldn't agree more. I left him a note before fleeing. "I'll come back to you once my face is healed." 3 years later, when we met again, Derek chased after me in his car down the street. "Darling, I've been waiting for you all this time." I smiled as I pried his hands off, handing him an invitation. "I'm getting married. You're welcome to attend." Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. The night before my engagement to Derek Andrews, his former flame Sherry Farley asked to meet me at her rented flat. "Nadia, you've really hit the jackpot," she said. Wearing a pilled white dress, her haggard expression tinged with jealousy, she continued. "Who would have thought the notoriously plain girl in our circle would marry into the Andrews family?" I took a sip of tea from the table, nervously tucking my hair to cover the port wine birthmark on the left side of my face, and softly confessed, "It's not about anything else. I love Derek, that's all." I sighed gently and added, "You should start a new life too. I came here today to tell you that Derek won't trouble you anymore." Years ago, when Derek's parents died in a car accident, and the Andrews family was on the brink of collapse, Sherry, his girlfriend at the time, embezzled £30 million from the company account and fled. After she had spent all the money and sheepishly returned, Derek, who had become the head of Andrews Group, seized her projects and ruined her company, frantically taking out all the suffering he had endured on her. "Do you really think Derek loves you?" Sherry suddenly snickered, interrupting my reminiscence. I didn't understand why she asked this, but at the mention of Derek, I instinctively lowered my eyes, unable to hide my shyness. "I've seen everything he's done." In the 10th year of my secret love for Derek, I accompanied him through his lowest point, helping him rise again step by step, finally winning his heart. The temperamental heir had beaten those who tried to kidnap me with ill intentions into disability and banished them from the city. He had also transformed from cold steel to putty in my hands, carefully kissing the red birthmark on my left cheek, saying it was an angel's seal. 2 weeks ago, Derek proposed to me amidst a city full of fireworks. He was so nervous that his hands trembled, barely able to hold the diamond ring. Finally, he embraced me, choking up, "Nadia, I have a family again." After his parents passed away, I gave him a second home. The media commented that the Andrews heir had an iron fist in business, ruthless and merciless in the corporate world. But he loved me to bits. Then guess, if we were both in danger at the same time, who would he choose? Sherry laughed hysterically, her pale cheeks flushing with excitement. "What do you mean?" I frowned, my face changing dramatically in the next second as I smelled the pungent odor of burning oil. The flames spread from the kitchen to the living room as a thunderous kick shattered the door. "Wake up, Nadia. Don't scare me like this." It was Derek. He was wearing his bespoke engagement suit, his tall figure cutting a dashing silhouette. Hair slicked back to reveal a smooth forehead. The redness in his sharp eyes betrayed his anxiety and fear as he embraced me with a force that threatened to meld us together. "I'm fine." I struggled to open my eyes, forcing a smile to reassure him. Sherry had drugged my tea. Before I could finish, Derek released his hold, and I slid onto the steaming floor. He viciously grabbed Sherry's chin as she lay collapsed nearby, his eyes blazing with fury. "You did this on purpose? If anything happens to Nadia, you'll pay with your life." Sherry coughed twice, her face full of disdain. "Derek, could you really bring yourself to do it?" As if struck by her words, Derek hesitated for a moment, a flash of annoyance crossing his chiseled features. "Why wouldn't I?" "Sherry, you ungrateful backstabber, you don't deserve a happy ending." His tone was harsh and rushed, as if desperately trying to convince himself. Sherry, her hair disheveled, leaned against the mottled wall, gazing into the distance through the flames. She murmured, "Your first love was with me. We held hands on summer nights on campus, kissed by the quiet lake. I've seen your childish side, and I know how you love to act tough. Oh, and I saved your life. In year 11, when you got into a fight and the other guy pulled a knife. I threw myself in front of you without hesitation. She paused, then laughed triumphantly. Derek, you can't forget me. Why don't we torment each other until death? Shut up. Derek interrupted her, glancing at me nervously. He covered my nose and mouth with a wet wipe he'd brought. Nadia, ignore this madwoman. Let's go. Just as his arm was about to slip under my knees, Sherry suddenly teared up. Derek, she cried out. Like a hard shell revealing its soft interior. Her white dress made her look pitiful as she spoke through heavy sobs. I think I've twisted my ankle. It hurts so much. Almost instinctively, Derek's temple throbbed twice. Without a moment's hesitation, he put me down and hoisted Sherry over his shoulder, heading for the exit. Bloody hell. He cursed under his breath. His face was full of impatience, yet there was a barely perceptible hint of indulgent affection. They looked just like a quarreling couple. I looked up at them, my eyes stinging. Through the thick smoke, I struggled to sit up, coughing. Don't go. Don't leave me. I'm supposed to be your fiancé. Derek, you promised you'd always be good to me. As the fire grew, this man who had been on one knee with flowers not long ago didn't even look back at me, whether out of urgency or guilt. He just tossed back at the firefighters will be here soon before hurrying away. As my consciousness faded, I vaguely saw Sherry clutching Derek's shirt tightly. Her mouth moving to form the words, I won the bet. As Derek had said, the firefighters arrived quickly. But because I couldn't move, the chandelier fell and struck my face. From forehead to chin, a long, terrifying scar cut across, tracing the path of my birthmark. When I woke up, I didn't cry or make a fuss. With my face wrapped up like a mummy, I sat motionless on the bed for half an hour. The first thing I said was, I want to call the police. Derek was spooning water into my mouth. Hearing this, he hesitated and said softly, Darling, what if I ask her to come and apologize? She was just testing me, she didn't really mean to hurt you. Can't we just let it go? An overwhelming sense of absurdity washed over me. My body trembled uncontrollably. Will an apology restore my face? Derek leaned in close, raising his hand to wipe away the water at the corner of my lips. With our breaths mingling, he sighed, it wasn't that pretty to begin with anyway. I looked up sharply, almost doubting my ears. Realizing his mistake, he hurriedly added. I mean, it doesn't matter if your face is scarred. I'll love you all the same. In school, I was mocked for the ugly mark on my face. They called me red-face freak, making me so self-conscious I could barely leave the house. Gradually, I grew my hair long and heavy, with thick bangs. When speaking, I'd hunch my shoulders and turn to the side, showing only the unblemished right side of my face. Derek burst into my life like a knight in shining armor. He fought off those bullies with his fists and solemnly told me, don't mind what others think. That was the beginning of my secret crush. Years into our relationship, whenever I'd fret in front of the mirror, Derek would lovingly kiss my face and say, it's not ugly at all. This is the seal an angel left on you. Darling, you're the angel sent from heaven to save me. Those past vows echoed in my ears. It felt as if my chest had been ripped open, with a chilling wind howling through. Derek, you still haven't given me a proper explanation for abandoning me to save Sherry. I forced my eyes wide open, not wanting tears to fall and weaken my interrogation. And now you're dead set on forgiving her for nearly killing me. Is it because you can't bear to upset her, or because you still have feelings for her? I'm naturally timid, a result of my appearance. Insecurity and sensitivity seem etched into my bones. If I weren't so upset, I'd rarely be this confrontational. After a long silence, Derek looked away in defeat. He kissed my forehead soothingly. Nadia, what we had back then wasn't fake. Besides, I owe her my life. You have to give me some time. So he admitted it. The moment those words fell, my mind went blank. Sorrow surged like a tidal wave, drowning me until I could barely breathe. He couldn't let go of his bond with Sherry. But what about me and him? We'd been childhood sweethearts for over 20 years. I'd swallowed my pride to borrow money from my parents to help him through his toughest times. I'd been kidnapped 3 times by his enemies while trying to protect him. What did all of that count for? I opened my mouth to question him, but extreme anger and heartbreak robbed me of my voice. After a long while, when I could finally speak again, my voice was terribly hoarse. I understand. Let's take some time apart then. Derek's hand holding the water glass shook violently, his expression changing dramatically. What did you say? I gave a bitter smile, my lips stinging with pain, though it was nothing compared to the agony in my heart. Derek, go rekindle your romance with your true love. When you've repaid whatever you owe her, we can talk again. The room fell silent. Water spilled from the glass onto the duvet. Derek hastily bent down, frantically trying to wipe it off. When he looked up again, his sharp, phoenix-like eyes had turned completely red. Nadia, don't joke about this. I closed my eyes briefly, letting out a slow breath. You know I'm serious. I don't mind if you two want to play out some drama of mutual torment and reconciliation, but I'm tired. I don't agree. Derek suddenly gripped my wrist, so forcefully it made me wince in pain. Break up? Nadia Whitlock, don't even think about it. The glass tumbled to the floor, shattering into pieces. For the first time since we started dating, he who had always treated me with the utmost care showed a sinister side. I tried to pull back, attempting to withdraw my hand, but to no avail as I remained tightly restrained. Don't do this, Derek. You're scaring me. Having just escaped death, being treated like this brought me to tears. Derek froze, as if waking from a dream. He released me and gently wiped the tears from the corner of my eye with his long, slender fingers. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, Nadia. I didn't mean to lose my temper with you. I'm just so worried. You promised to give me a home, you can't go back on that. The high and mighty heir prostrated himself before me, gently massaging my sore wrist and apologizing over and over. About a year ago, I was kidnapped for the 3rd time by Derek's enemies. The scarred leader, desperate for money, cut my arm with a fruit knife to force Derek to quickly come up with £1 million. He video called Derek using my mobile. On the other end of the screen, the powerful Andrews Group magnate, who could make or break deals with a wave of his hand, lost his composure, even bowing his head to a desperate criminal. Don't hurt her. I'll give you whatever amount you want. Just don't touch her, please. Later, when everything was settled and Derek successfully rescued me, he beat the scarred man and his gang within an inch of their lives. In the end, Derek cradled my bloodied arm and burst into tears without warning. It's all my fault, Nadia. If you weren't my girlfriend, you wouldn't have suffered like this. Still in shock, I forced a smile to comfort him, my face pale. I've never regretted being with you. The scene overlapped with the present. In the hospital room, Derek apologized incoherently. Finally, he pleaded in a hoarse voice, Nadia, don't leave me. I'll die without you. But Derek. Tears I had been holding back for so long burst forth, soaking through layers of bandages and stinging the wound with a burning pain. My voice was barely above a whisper. Being with you. I almost died. Derek adamantly refused to break up or let me leave. He had his staff move his desk from the office to my hospital room, staying by my side to take care of me all day, going nowhere else. Sherry was sent away. I never saw that woman again, who was just as mad as Derek. It was as if nothing had happened, and Derek was still my devoted boyfriend, attentive 24/7. But we both knew deep down that some things had already changed irrevocably. The day the bandages came off was a bright afternoon. Derek gently unwrapped the white gauze, layer by layer, placing a soft kiss on my forehead. Our Nadia has finally recovered. I raised my hand to touch the protruding scar that ran across my entire face, and asked quietly, Do I look awful? What are you saying? Derek pinched my cheek, raising an eyebrow with a smile. To me, you'll always be the most beautiful. I lifted the corner of my lips in self-mockery. Really? Of course. Lies. He was lying. Even though he tried hard to hide it, in those few seconds our eyes met. I still caught the shock and disappointment in his gaze. See? Men say they don't care about looks, that they love you for who you are. But deep down, they all hope their girlfriend is a beauty. Not an ugly duckling with a birthmark and a disfigured face. Derek didn't notice my dejection. He sat down on the bed, holding my hand. The doctor says you need to be under observation for another week. Next month, when you've fully recovered, we'll get engaged. His warm fingertips touched my face, then quickly withdrew. Derek sighed, I'll repay everything I owe you, double. He was wearing a gray cotton t-shirt today. The sunlight from the window falling on his fringe, making him look impossibly handsome. I remained silent, my gaze tracing every inch of his face. Then I opened my lips, uttering that sentence for I don't know how many times. I won't get engaged to you, at least not now. Lately, Derek loved to describe our future life to me. He said we would get engaged, marry, adopt 2 cats, have a lovely child, and live happily ever after together. I would correct him tirelessly, over and over. No engagement, no marriage, no future together. Derek's responses evolved from initial gentle persuasion, to exasperated anger, to his current habit of emotional analysis. Nadia, when I was abandoned by everyone and had nothing, you were the only one by my side, never leaving. So I will never let you go. I could never forget that most difficult time. Derek was desperately seeking investors everywhere. I accompanied him, living in a rented flat, cooking instant noodles. Later, unable to bear seeing the proud boy from my memories reduced to such a state, I knelt before my parents, begging them for money. Though life was hard, being together with the one I loved, finding warmth in each other's embrace, my heart was sweet. In the past, I loved you, willingly giving you everything. But now, I don't love you as much. I gave a bitter smile. Derek stubbornly denied it. You're talking nonsense again. I've told Ms. Whitlock about your injury. She'll be here to see you soon. Heh. I forced out a short laugh from my throat. Is this your final move? Using my mum to pressure me? Derek kissed the top of my head. Be good, don't blame me. I just want to be with you, that's all. My mom arrived quickly. Before she even entered the room, I could hear the sharp click of her heels mixed with her angry voice penetrating my ears. What did you promise me when you started dating Derek Andrews? You said you'd put the Whitlock Group's interests first. Are you going back on your word now? The engagement news has already been announced. So many people are watching, both openly and secretly. Can you imagine how much our company's stock would drop if we suddenly canceled the engagement? I knew it. I just knew it. No concern, no protection, just blind accusations and abuse. Causing this kind of drama before the engagement can't even keep a man. If this gets out, it'll be so embarrassing. As she stepped into the room, her voice suddenly cut off. Your face. What happened to it? It was burned, I said with a bitter smile. Mom, if the price of this engagement is my life, would you still agree to it? My mom coughed lightly. Don't be so dramatic. You were head over heels for him not long ago. My mother, Thea Whitlock, single-handedly founded the Whitlock Group and climbed to the top of high society in just 10 years. She's known as a formidable businesswoman in our circles, a real workaholic. And my birth was probably the only blemish on her otherwise glamorous life. As her daughter, I'm neither pretty nor particularly talented. When I nervously asked her to lend money to help Derek through his crisis, she first frowned. Derek? You're with him now? I heard he has an ex-girlfriend he has a love-hate relationship with. Then she casually took my hand. That boy is ruthless. If you help him get back on his feet, and we can form an alliance with the Andrews family through marriage, it would be perfect for everyone. I regret it now, Mum. I don't want to throw my life away. Breaking free from the memory, I said softly but firmly. Unexpectedly, my mom abruptly stood up. Her eyebrows knitted in anger and slapped me across the face. Nadia Whitlock, why can't you learn from your sister and stop giving me headaches? Do you think an engagement is child's play? This is the beginning of cooperation between the Whitlock and Andrews families. You don't get to change your mind on a whim. You've never been good at studying, and now that you're finally grown up, and able to contribute something to the family, you want to back out? Besides, it's not like Derek has abused you, it was just an accident. I held my stinging cheek, listening numbly. Finally, I couldn't help but interrupt her. If I were Moira, would you still want her to be engaged to Derek? My mom shot me a contemptuous look. Don't say such unlucky things, you'll shorten your life. Moira is studying abroad, she would never be like you. Unattractive with poor judgment, always picking the wrong men. As she spoke, she trailed off awkwardly. She glanced at me guiltily, trying to backtrack. Derek is quite good, isn't he? At least he's handsome, it's not like you're losing out by being with him. A breeze blew in through the curtains. Despite the sweltering summer heat, my heart felt frozen solid. So she understood all along that Derek wasn't a trustworthy man. But for the sake of profit, she didn't hesitate to push me into the fire. After that day when my mother left, I never spoke of not getting engaged again. Derek brought an ice pack and gently placed it on my face, treating me as if I were a priceless treasure. Does it hurt, darling? I didn't respond. He then curved his lips into a rather smug smile. If you had agreed earlier, this wouldn't have been necessary. I had no choice. With that, Derek took out a ring from his pocket and slipped it onto my finger without hesitation. Securing you in advance. The massive diamond sparkled brilliantly, and the man presenting the ring had a mischievous glint in his eyes as he smiled. I didn't refuse. Derek was visibly pleased. He leaned in to kiss the corner of my lips, mumbling a promise. I've already sent Sherry away, don't worry, darling. I won't make the same mistake twice. I let him ramble on, my expression as lifeless as a marionette. After my mother's impassioned speech, my once firm resolve began to waver. I started to doubt myself. Was it truly my fault for wanting to break up? Was it because I wasn't good enough that Derek couldn't let go of Sherry and chose to save her instead of me? I had no way of knowing. I was already introverted by nature. And now I became even more reticent, sometimes barely speaking a few words all day. Once my physical condition improved, Derek stopped staying by my side constantly. He had his company to manage and the engagement preparations to oversee. An engagement is like a mini wedding, we can't be careless about it. Nadia, you focus on resting. I'll take care of everything and make you the most beautiful bride. On the day of my discharge, Derek didn't come to pick me up as promised. As dusk approached, I changed my clothes and went out to look for him. Unexpectedly, I saw two familiar figures standing face to face on the lawn below. Sherry angrily demanded, "Derek, what gives you the right to decide whether I stay or go?" Derek took 2 steps back, distancing himself from her, a hint of disgust flashing in his eyes. "I let you off easy after you set fire and scarred Nadia's face, out of consideration for our past. And here you are, asking for trouble?" Sherry looked much better than when I had seen her at the flat. She stared at Derek for a moment, then suddenly burst into laughter. Derek furrowed his brows. "What's so funny?" Sherry blinked, her words laden with implication. "I'm laughing at someone's hypocrisy." The carefully constructed mask of indifference cracked, and Derek coughed, his demeanor weakening. "Who are you talking about?" Sherry tilted her head, taking a big step forward, drawing so close she was almost pressed against Derek. "Nadia's being discharged today. I don't have time to waste with you. Leave before I lose my temper." Derek turned his head away, leaning back. He reached out to push Sherry away, but she caught his hand. "Why pretend to be so devoted, Derek? If you truly loved her, you wouldn't have come to see me at all. You." Derek gritted his teeth in anger. "Is it so hard to admit you can't forget me?" Sherry stood on her tiptoes, a confident smile playing on her delicate face. Her lips barely grazed Derek's chin. "Hey, has Nadia ever kissed you like this?" Derek didn't answer. "No," I thought to myself. Given my personality, I had never been bold enough to kiss Derek like that. Sherry read the answer in Derek's reaction and grew even more smug. "Tell me, can you even bring yourself to kiss that face? I heard Nadia's got a nickname, Red Face Freak." "Quite fitting, don't you think?" Derek was furious. "You bloody." He couldn't finish. Because Sherry yanked down his tie like a queen and kissed him fiercely. Derek froze for a moment, then took control. biting her lips savagely. The dim evening light concealed my presence as I stood quietly nearby, taking in the entire scene. So this was Derek's solemn promise to me. I won't make the same mistake twice. When pain reaches its peak, your heart constricts to the point where you can't breathe. I stumbled, barely managing to steady myself, and let out a soft sigh. Derek, this time I'm truly giving up on you. From now on, we have no connection. Just as I turned away indifferently, preparing to leave, a clear, crisp voice, filled with fury, pierced my ears. You cheating bastards! I'll kill you both. My heart skipped a beat, and I turned back in disbelief. I saw my sister, Moira, who had been studying abroad and whom I hadn't seen in ages, rush forward in one swift move, forcefully separating the two who were locked in a passionate kiss. With lightning speed, she slapped them both. You wretch, you're the one who scarred my sister's face, aren't you? And you scumbag, if I had known what kind of person you were, I would have tried to break you up even if it meant having a huge fight with my sister. Derek's face darkened to the point it could drip water, while Sherry let out a shriek. Where did this wild girl come from? Having dealt her blows, Moira waved in my direction. I covered my mouth in disbelief, tears falling in large drops. The summer breeze lifted the hem of her dress, and the fresh scent of gardenia enveloped me. Sis, I'm back. If this world were a novel, my sister Moira Whitlock would be the darling protagonist of a sweet romance story, smart, beautiful, and full of vibrant energy. I, on the other hand, am the plain backdrop, seemingly existing only to highlight her radiance. From childhood, our parents and everyone around us have sung her praises endlessly. But I've never felt an ounce of jealousy. She's innocent and lively, always protesting loudly when Mum shows favoritism. If I get a new toy, Nadia should have one too. Perceptive and considerate. She attended different schools from primary through sixth form to spare my sensitive feelings. Few people know that unremarkable Nadia Whitlock has such a dazzling sister. She understands better than anyone my longing for maternal affection. After graduation, she left without hesitation to pursue her master's degree abroad. Moira said that with her out of sight, Mum would focus more attention on me. Timid as I am, the only bit of courage and temper I possess was nurtured by her. I love my sister dearly. She deserves all the beauty this world has to offer. Moira had clearly rushed over straight from the airport, still clutching her suitcase. As our eyes met, she noticed my face, and her doe-like eyes welled up with tears. If I'd known, I never would have gone abroad to study. What was I thinking, leaving you all alone? Moira sniffled and linked her arm through mine. When I heard you were injured and in hospital, I nearly died of fright. I rushed to get time off and fly back. That bastard Derek wants to have both on his side. Do what you need to do, and don't mind Mum, she's blinded by money. I glanced quickly behind us at Derek, who was walking slowly with his head down, keeping his distance. So, you support me breaking up with him? Moira was indignant. Absolutely. If you don't dump him, I'll drive a forklift truck to convince you. She bellowed this last bit rather loudly, and Derek heard, shooting us a warning glare. Thank you, Moira. For the first time since the fire, I smiled genuinely. Under the weight of it all, I had been ready to give in and compromise. Thank goodness you came and gave me the courage to fight back. Moira efficiently helped me pack my clothes. Sawed the engagement. Sis, we're going home. Derek leaned lazily against the doorframe, lifting his eyelids to look our way. His tone was dangerous. Where do you think you're taking my fiancé? 10 minutes earlier, he and Sherry had been interrupted by Moira. Across the night air and evening breeze, he met my cold gaze. He shoved Sherry away abruptly, his narrow eyes filled with panic. Darling, let me explain. There's nothing to explain, Sherry pursed her crimson lips, her expression challenging. As you can see, we still have unfinished business. Derek, furious and embarrassed, slapped her hard across the face. Get out of here! And don't come back! Sherry stumbled backwards from the blow, her eyes flashing with malice. Derek, one day I'll help you see your true feelings. Sherry left. Derek sauntered back to the hospital room where I was packing my things to leave, occasionally glaring at Moira like a possessive wolf cub. Moira sneered with disdain, fiancé your arse. My sister isn't your property. She has the right to break up with you. Malice gathered in Derek's expression as he scoffed, and who are you to say anything? Moira exploded, bloody hell. I'll be damned if you ever set foot in our house again. Derek turned to stare at me, his smile cold. Why don't we let Nadia choose? See if she comes home with me, or leaves with you. He deliberately emphasized the word home. Derek is a madman, I know that all too well. You can't provoke a madman because you never know what he might do next. Moira, you should go. I'm sure my smile looked dreadful. I'll go with him. A few days after returning to the Andrews mansion, Derek began pressuring my mother to send Moira abroad for school. Fearing the surprised or critical gazes of others, I quit my job and spent my days idly at home. Derek keenly sensed my melancholy and removed all the mirrors and reflective objects from the house. He placed a fleeting kiss on my forehead. Don't worry, Nadia. I've hired the best makeup artist. You'll be the most beautiful woman at the engagement party. I turned my head to avoid his touch. Ever since that fire, we've had less and less to say to each other. Derek gripped my face, forcefully biting the corner of my mouth. Darling, you promised to give me a family. You can't go back on your word. If anything happens to you before the engagement, I'll have a word with your sister. I panicked and grabbed his wrist. Our issues have nothing to do with her. He was threatening me. With his power and status, making someone disappear from the city would take mere minutes. Derek was quite satisfied with my reaction, the menace on his face largely dissipating. As long as you behave, Nadia. My fingernails dug into my palm as I took a deep breath. The plan I had been contemplating for so long taking shape in my mind. Derek, you can torment me all you want, but you shouldn't have threatened Moira. She's the only person in this world who's been good to me, and she's my weakness. I booked a ticket to London, where Moira was studying, without telling anyone. But before I could carry out my plan, Sherry strutted in on her high heels. She had abandoned her usual innocent look, wearing elaborate makeup and carrying a Gucci bag. With Derek not at home, she haughtily threw a mirror in front of me. Nadia, how dare you cling to Derek with a face like that? I picked up the mirror, and a familiar yet strange face stared back at me. Under the large reddish-brown birthmark, the scar had scabbed over and fallen off. Now a flesh-pink color, sprawling across my face, hideous and frightening. I stared intently at myself in the mirror, my eyes growing redder. No girl doesn't love beauty, and even though I had been ugly for so many years, a deliberate fire had made my situation even worse. Calming myself, I spoke softly, we both know who's clinging to whom. Sherry's beautiful but cruel face was inches from mine. Derek still loves me. I saved his life, we have a bond forged in fire. I advise you to leave on your own accord, it's better for everyone. She was certain of my insecurity about my appearance and wanted to use it to drive me away. I felt the voice recorder in my pocket and retorted with a sob in my voice. But I've loved Derek for 10 years, I don't want to leave him. When he proposed, his hands shook so much he could barely hold the ring. He also saved me when I was kidnapped and nearly died, crying as he apologized to me. Derek lost both his parents, and I promised to give him a family. If I leave, he'll be devastated. Sherry listened, grinding her teeth. I should have let Scarface kill you back then. I suddenly looked up. Scarface was under your orders? Derek's not here, so I might as well tell you, I hired someone to kidnap you. I had no choice, I'd run out of money and needed to squeeze more out of Derek. So even before the fire, this woman had nearly cost me my life. Intense anger made me clench my fists, repeatedly comforting myself internally. Just endure a little longer, those who do evil will eventually pay the price. Derek was so good to you before, why do you keep deceiving him, using your so-called life-saving grace? My voice trembled, just right. Sherry laughed contemptuously. To be honest, I like his money more than Derek himself. So you're saying, all your efforts to win him back? And even coming here today to humiliate me, it's not for love, but for money? I suppose so. I spent all my money and came back to find a sucker. Derek's really something, he's been fooled by me once and still hasn't learned his lesson. Sherry curved her eyes, poking my forehead. Smart women only care about money and benefits. Only fools like you pursue something as intangible as love. That night, I packed nothing and flew to London alone. Moira had just finished her class when she saw me. Her eyes nearly popped out of her head. "Nadia, what are you doing here?" I took off my hat and mask, smiling at her. "Didn't you say you supported my breakup?" Moira brought me to the flat she rented near her school. The girl in her early 20s was so happy she was almost in tears. "I had already bought tickets to fly back home and crash your engagement party. I can't believe you came to find me instead." "Nadia, is this really you?" I hugged her gently. "Moira, you saved me. During my time in hospital, Sherry Farley, the woman who had hurt me, was walking free. Derek forcefully kept me by his side, and my own mother pushed me towards the abyss. Under all this pressure, my heart grew dark and withered, and symptoms of depression gradually appeared. At my lowest, I couldn't sleep for nights on end. Lying in bed, every time I closed my eyes, the smell of smoke filled my nostrils. And the image of Derek carrying Sherry away, abandoning me, would automatically appear. From self-doubt to eventually harboring thoughts of suicide. The night Moira returned home against all odds. Furiously scolding Derek and Sherry, and taking my hand to bring me home. A beam of light shot into my dark world. Suppressing the negative thoughts. I told myself there must be a way to both escape the madman Derek and ensure Sherry was punished. "By the way, sis, you just ran off like this. What if Derek comes after you?" Moira had prepared a big feast to welcome me. At the mention of Derek, she frowned. "That guy is a complete obsessive." "Don't worry," I smiled sarcastically, "I left him two things. He won't have the face to come find me." "What? What? Tell me quickly." As Moira eagerly pressed for details, before I could answer, my mum called. I slid to answer and put it on speaker. "Nadia, you little tramp, where have you gone? Pulling this runaway bride stunt, are you? Think about it, who else would want you besides Derek?" I listened to her tirade with a stony face. Moira snatched the phone. "Mom, Nadia is your daughter." "How can you say such things?" There was an immediate retreat on the other end. "Moira? You're together?" "Yes, I'm here to protect my sister. Don't even think about marrying her off to that scumbag Derek." My mom laughed nervously and explained. "It's mainly because our family and Andrew's group have several ongoing projects. If Nadia breaks off the engagement and Derek gets angry and stops the cooperation, we'll lose a lot of money." Moira wasn't buying it at all. "So what if we lose money? How much has Nadia helped you squeeze out of Andrew's group all these years she's been with Derek? She doesn't owe you anything." Offended by her favored daughter, my mum's tone turned stern. "You don't understand, this matter is of great importance." "It won't happen," I shook my head, softly contradicting her. My mum berated me impatiently. "What do you know?" Moira's eyes widened in surprise. "Nadia, why do you say that?" "The two things I left for Derek, one is a voice recorder, capturing Sherry's true money-grubbing nature. The other is a letter. Once Derek reads that letter, he won't cause trouble for Whitlock Group." In the letter, I described my decade-long secret love for Derek. When everyone mocked me for my looks, he seriously told me, "Don't mind what they say. We weren't close then." Derek's parents were still alive, and he hadn't experienced betrayal from all sides. His personality wasn't as twisted as it is now. In the letter, I said that the young Derek was dazzling and passionate, my little son hidden in my heart. I said that even when he left me in the fire to save Sherry, I never truly blamed him. I loved him, unchanging for 10 years. I also said Sherry was too beautiful. When she came to me wearing her glasses, I felt inferior, deeply feeling I wasn't good enough for him. So I made an appointment with a famous plastic surgeon abroad. After removing my birthmarks and scars, I would become beautiful enough to get engaged and married to him. Although I'm jealous that Sherry was your first love, I have to admit she was right when she said I was too ugly for you. It won't be long, Derek. You must wait for me. Once my face is healed, we'll go get our marriage license. No need for an engagement, let's get married directly. What should I do? I can't wait to marry you already." The plan was a success. According to my mom, Derek and Sherry had a complete falling out. He grabbed Sherry by the throat and demanded to know if she had ever loved him at all. Sherry went from adamantly denying everything to eventually hurling insults at Derek, calling him a gullible fool who never learned from his mistakes, a complete sucker. Oh, and she insulted me too. That witch Nadia, looking all weak and harmless, but secretly recording everything. I should have had that Scarface thug stab her to death. This earned her a vicious slap from Derek, who was so enraged he nearly strangled her. But in the end, he couldn't bring himself to do it. Sherry's ultimate fate was merely being run out of the city. From now on, we're even. I owe her nothing, and she owes me nothing. Derek's voice sounded utterly exhausted over our international call. We kept in touch via WhatsApp, occasionally video chatting. On the surface, we were just like any other long-distance couple. That letter had quite an impact. Derek became increasingly clingy. Our relationship dynamic shifted imperceptibly. He became the one pining away, while I turned into the aloof one holding all the cards. Worried I might not be comfortable living abroad, Derek transferred £2 million to me to ensure I was well fed and housed. Derek, who once despised writing letters, suddenly penned over a dozen love letters, each word dripping with affection. Sick with longing, he proposed visiting me several times. But I gently declined, citing my ongoing treatment. He couldn't come. Not wanting to see him was one thing, but having him discover my lies was another matter entirely. The plastic surgeon didn't exist. The birthmark on my face was too large and in a sensitive location to be removed. The scar could be partially reduced through surgery, making it less noticeable. But this trip abroad wasn't entirely fruitless. Moira dragged me to various balls and gatherings, introducing me to all sorts of people. Gradually, my personality began to open up. With the help of several makeup artist friends, I learned to use cosmetic techniques to conceal my facial flaws and accentuate my good features. When I looked in the mirror and saw my transformed face, I could hardly believe it. They told me, beauty has no ceiling, but insecurity has a bottomless pit. What does it mean to be pretty? Does not being pretty mean you're not worthy of love and care? Not at all. I learned to pull my hair back, revealing my entire face. I stopped being a self-deprecating outsider and became an artist who embraced all her imperfections. So when Moira saw me chatting happily with Derek during my free time and worriedly said, "Nadia, you can't let him bewitch you and fall for him again," I couldn't help but laugh. Moira, I'm a person who's died once already. Every morning when I look in the mirror and apply thick foundation, the faint scars serve as a constant reminder that they must be punished. Moira let out a long sigh of relief, then said with concern, "Why don't we go see a therapist? I've been worried ever since you mentioned having suicidal thoughts." I ruffled her hair. "That won't happen again. This world is truly awful, but there's always a small part of it worth sticking around for." 3 years later, I returned as the heiress of the Whitlock Group. Of course, this title was merely a ploy to attract media attention. Derek had also heard the news. He sent me a WhatsApp message, complaining, "You could have told me in advance, I would have picked you up. Are you free these couple of days? I'd like to take you out for dinner." I didn't reply. Since my return, I hadn't responded to any of his messages. My cold attitude was a stark contrast to our previous exchanges, where we used to chat hundreds of times a day. Derek, growing impatient, came to the Whitlock mansion twice to see me. I made up excuses to brush him off, refusing to meet him. After keeping Derek at bay for 2 weeks, I finally saw him at a gala hosted by a famous brand. Our eyes met across the crowded room. The moment our gazes locked, Derek's eyes lit up with joy and amazement. There was no doubt I looked stunning tonight. A white gold strapless gown hugged my curves perfectly. I had meticulously done my makeup, and my birthmark had been slightly altered to resemble a butterfly poised for flight. My demeanor had changed drastically from 3 years ago. Though still reserved, I now exuded a calm confidence. Derek loved me, but he loved my beauty even more. I smiled, raising my glass to him from afar, then tilted my head back and drank it all in one go. As Derek watched in shock, I gathered my skirts and turned to leave. "Nadia." Derek's voice carried to my ears. I smiled slightly and quickened my pace. This game, 3 years in the making, was ready for its final move. After being away for 3 years. Just when Derek thought he had regained what was lost, I would deliver the final, fatal blow. A cool breeze blew as I ran swiftly down the street in my high heels. The roar of an engine sounded behind me. In less than 2 minutes, a red Ferrari skidded to a stop in front of me with a graceful drift. Derek, impeccably dressed in a suit, got out of the car and reached out to grab my wrist. I dodged backward, causing him to grasp at thin air. "It's been 3 years, darling. Have you forgiven me?" he asked, his voice hoarse as he smiled bitterly. "Sherry Farley and I are completely over. The arson incident that burned you will never happen again." I took out a carefully designed fake invitation from my clutch, smiling with crinkled eyes. "That plain-looking girl is getting married. You're welcome to come." Derek's pupils constricted. He opened his mouth, struggling to utter 2 words, "Married, to whom?" His hand trembled as he took the invitation. Upon seeing an unfamiliar man's name, he lost his composure. "Who is this?" "Nadia, who is he?" I tilted my head. "My fiancé." That chiseled face instantly turned pale. Derek's hand holding the invitation shook repeatedly, looking as if he might collapse at any moment. "Impossible. You said you had a crush on me for 10 years, that you loved me the most. You said it yourself in your letter, Nadia." I blinked innocently. "Does loving you mean I can't marry someone else? You loved me too, but what good did that do? When danger came, you abandoned me without a second thought. What did I have to do with the debt you owed Sherry Farley? Why did I have to pay for it? I'm sorry, Nadia. I'm so sorry. You can punish me any way you want, just please don't marry someone else." The crowd of onlookers grew larger, with reporters from the gala rushing over at the commotion. I thought for a moment, then said in a light voice, "Then kneel down and beg me." "I'll consider it." All right. Derek agreed immediately, dropping to his knees at my feet. His eyes were bloodshot, with a few strands of his carefully styled hair falling across his forehead, creating a sense of beauty in his disheveled state. On the bustling street, the once invincible and ruthless heir to the Andrews family was groveling at my feet, begging pitifully. Gasps erupted from the crowd, and the reporter's camera flashes never ceased. "He will beg you, he will even kneel down, he will slap himself. Don't soften your heart. He will swear again and again." Men love to make vows. Their promises are no different from a dog's bark. Don't believe them. I couldn't agree more. So I took out the ring that Derek had once forcefully put on my finger from my bag and threw it at him. "I've considered it. My answer is no." Derek didn't get up. He desperately clutched at the hem of my dress. "Darling, you can't do this to me." I simply tore off that piece of fabric with force, then leaned down to whisper in his ear. "This isn't enough, Derek. I almost lost my life back then. Both murderers and unfaithful men are bound for hell." "You're right, darling." After a long silence, Derek forced a cold smile, his eyes tinged with a manic bloodlust. "I will atone for my sins in my own way." Derek returned home in a daze, sending someone to fetch Sherry, who lived in the neighboring town. On a summer night filled with the chirping of crickets, this mad heir set fire to the Andrews mansion. As flames reached towards the sky, by the time firefighters arrived, everything that could burn had already been consumed. Derek and his former girlfriend, his pure love, perished within. This was Derek's way of atoning to me, as he had said. With this, my 3-year plan for revenge finally came to an end. The bodies were carried out, blackened beyond recognition, their features completely indistinguishable. I went to the scene. The summer wind, carrying with it a stifling heat, enveloped me. I couldn't quite describe the feeling in my heart. There was a sense of satisfaction at seeing the wicked punished, but also regret for the tragic end of a decade-long unrequited love. 2 people who once loved each other, now separated by death, as distant as strangers. Derek's hand tightly clutched a ring. It took the police who rushed to the scene quite some time to pry it open. While the media expressed their shock and sorrow, they began to romanticize the love between Derek and me, indulging in what they called expired sugar. I immediately registered a Twitter account and posted a clarification. We broke up long ago. We're not close. Stop with the forced marketing. After everything was settled, I bought another ticket to London. I'm very interested in makeup artistry, and this time I'm going to study at a renowned local school. I want to help more people who, like me, feel insecure about their birthmarks to look better. And while helping them regain confidence, I want to convey a message. A seed doesn't necessarily have to grow into a beautiful flower. It can become the wind, a cloud, or a tree. Regardless of height or beauty, each form is a unique version of itself. In the crowded airport, my mum and Moira saw me off. My mum wore large sunglasses, exuding the aura of a powerful woman. Study hard, don't embarrass the Whitlock family. I'm studying for myself, not for the Whitlocks, I replied. Faced with her shock, I smiled ambiguously. Mum, thank you for raising me, but I won't forgive your favoritism and harshness. If possible, I wish I hadn't been born into the wealthy Whitlock family. But there's one downside to that, I joked in good spirits. Moira wouldn't be my sister then. My mum's lips quivered, but she remained silent with a sour expression. Moira burst into laughter and gave me a big bear hug, the scent of jasmine particularly pleasant. Nadia, you're free now. I hugged her back tightly. Take care of yourself too, and bring your boyfriend home for me to vet when you get one.